Hi everyone, Kevin Ikov here, and today I'm going to show you how to do a smudging. Smudgings are done to help cleanse the environment of the house or the apartment or whatever that you live in. Make sure that you follow all fire safety codes and things when you're doing this. Anyway, I'm just lighting. This is white sage mixed with some other types of sage. You can purchase these almost at any sort of spiritual store or a holistic store. I have a plate underneath it. The plate underneath it is to catch any of the droppings. I'm starting here facing the east, and you want to make sure when you do this, you get it all the way up into the corner, which is where the energy kind of gets trapped, and make sure you follow that smoke as it touches into all the corners as you're doing this. And the plate is really here to stop this from anything from falling. And especially if you have carpet or something like that, you want to make sure when you're doing this, you're kind of doing this and you're touching every corner. And you can actually physically see the smoke going up in there. I don't know if you can or not on the film, but it's actually going up into those corners. You're making sure you're hitting every corner doing this. And so that completes this particular room once I get into here. This is one way to do it, where I just completed it at this one particular room. Then you would move to the next room. And I'm just going to move to the next room. It's a room with a vaulted ceiling, so I'm going to show you what it's like to do it in a room like that. So here we are in the room with the vaulted ceilings. I'm going to start in the corner here and just work my way around. Same way, I cannot reach all the way up into the vaulted part, obviously. But I still am hitting all the edges of the top part of this. You just want to make sure you try to cover all the edges, get up in there, and go all the way around. And as you see, the smoke curls up. Especially into the corners. You want to make sure you get it into the corners all the way around. And now we're coming up into that vaulted part, but you're doing the edges. You're not worrying so much about the vaulted part. And as you see, I just move around. I work my way around the furniture or whatever that's there. I just continue on. Make sure you're pushing that smoke, actually, as we move into the vaulted part, up into that corner with your mind as well. You're thinking of it going into the corners and touching every corner there, all the way across. And as you can see, the smoke just bellow up. And that's what you want. You want a good smoking. And as you see, I'm not even blowing on this. I'm just going right around in all the corners. Here we did every piece of this pretty much once I get to this next corner. And here we are basically where I started with this. And so that completes this room. When you do a complete smudging in the house, there's more than one way to do this. I did this room in entirety. Some people would open a window in this one room. I'd like to say you open an eastern or northern facing window to let that air back out after a smudging. Here I have a skylight in this room. In this particular room, I might let the air out of that skylight after I did this room as well. But this is an eastern facing window, so I would open this window here. following this smudging. But that's one way of doing it just as a complete room. You can start at like one spot on the eastern section of the house, which is where I started to begin with this video, and work your way around the whole entire house in the perimeter first, and just do the perimeter part first, then open a doorway or a window and let that air out after you complete the whole entire smudging. That would just be the way to do the periphery. And I wouldn't open the door until I got back to the end of that one. So I would start counterclockwise and just go that way, or clockwise. It doesn't really matter which way. But some would say clockwise, some would say counterclockwise. So it's all up to the individual. So as you saw I did with this particular smudging stick, I did not use a feather or anything like that. Shamans have a tendency to use a feather, make it a little more ceremonial. It works just as well just lighting it and imagining the cleansing happening here. Prior to the cleansing, you want to make sure you do a good, complete, thorough cleaning with a vacuum cleaner, whatever, detergent, whatever, scrub the floor. All of that should be done prior to the cleaning. Also, removing any kind of object that you think might be interfering or bringing an evilness into the home or the environment. It could be an ancient object that's laying around the house. It could be something new that you purchased that's disturbing the energy and brought negative energy with it. You want to remove all of that prior to a smudging, and you don't bring it back after the smudging. This is to cleanse the house of any kind of negative, evil energies there. We're going to do one more room in my house, and that'll be the completion of this smudging to show it to you how to do it. And anyway, one more shot at this next room, and hopefully this will give you some good understanding as to how to do a smudging. And as you can see, this particular time I do have a feather with me. So I'm going to show you, you're not really allowed to collect feathers, but you can purchase fake feathers online. And the thing is it's actually illegal to own an actual feather of a bird, believe it or not. Anyway, to do this with a feather, I'm going to show you how you do this. And the feather is using as the sweep to sweep that air. Sweep the air into the corners as you're doing this. And again, your mindset is on purifying and cleansing that area as you're doing this smudging with the feather. And you're pushing that air into the corners. Just like that, pushing the air in. There's all different kind of ways to do it. And that kind of completes the smudging using the feather. And as you can see, there's still a lot of smoke coming off of that. And the feather would just push that smoke into those corners. And so that's how this is done, using a feather. And then some would say you do a smudging around you as well. Following this, you can draw a circle and walk directly in through that smoke itself prior to it. I'm also going to put a little link here on something known as the Agnihotra Shaktipa. And so if you play this in the background while you're doing a smudging or a drumming, and there'll be a drumming in this as I'm doing the smudging, you'll hear this drumming. You want a constant kind of sound, somebody playing the drumming as you're doing it. That's a gentle way to change that vibrational energy in the room, in the area, in your house. Once this is done, you do want to open a door at the end of it. Either an eastern facing door or a northern facing door at the end to let that energy kind of back out into the house. Windows are fine too. Anyway, I hope this helps you learn how to do a cleansing for your house, how to change the energy of your apartment or environment. It's a very easy thing to do. You can pick up smaller smudging sticks. You certainly don't need a feather. As you saw, I did it with just the stick itself. It's fine. And I recommend doing this Agnihotra in the background all the time, 24/7 at a very low volume. It basically gives you a cleansing of a 50-mile radius in all directions once you play it. Changes the consciousness of the area. And so I'll leave the link for it. There's a lot of them out there. I recommend this particular Agnihotra. It's basically a practice to the sun. And I don't include how to do that, but this, just listening to this in general, will give you an automatic cleansing without even doing a smudging. So that's how powerful it is. But you can use any kind of indigenous sounds, flutes, music, or whatever while you're doing this to help enhance that cleansing. And so I hope this helps you. I hope this gives you the ability to cleanse and bring peace and serenity into your own environment. I wish you well. I wish you a good day, great happiness, great love. Namaste, Jai Bhagwan. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. May you cleanse and do well in life.